Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Thursday. It's hard when we tape them, Tom. I have to really think ahead.
Yeah, try to remember what day it is. And it's hard. You can't figure out what special day is it today?
Exactly. I didn't look ahead. So yes, I'm a failure. What can I say? And my face looks really red and it looks really dark. Does it look dark to you?
No, I think it's
okay.
Fine. You're being awful judgmental about yourself so far.
Well, I'm having some identity issues today because I have a pair of shorts on that I really like, but they're a little flashy. I think I can show you. Look, can you see? They're salmon colored. See them?
Yes.
And they're a little
flashy.
Yeah, I think for me.
Okay.
So Tom, why don't we get to our topic? Because I'm creating yet another stumbling block.
For yourself, I think.
But first, should we talk about the summer of celebration? Because it is in full swing, Tom. We are right smack dab nearing the end of the first month of the summer of celebration.
Sure, let's tell them about it.
So the summer of celebration is our way for you to zero in on the things that you want to celebrate. Could be a work situation, could be a personal situation, it could be one of each, it could be two of one, it could be just any little thing. I think I celebrated some more donuts the other day because I was lucky enough to have a some more donut, and that struck my fancy as, you know what, this is worthy of a celebration. And so we encourage you to go into the Ring Renegade Facebook group and celebrate whatever you want to celebrate, because one thing about some more donuts, I celebrate that, and Tom, I think, liked that, and Tom got to know a little more about me. He's like, I didn't know Bob liked some more donuts. I've talked to him a million times. He surprised me with that, or who cares? But it is a way to find out common interests. It also is a way to start discussions, because you could look in there and see someone celebrating their child's last day of high school. We're not having to make school lunches anymore. And you could talk to that person about that and be like, oh, I can't believe you've gotten to that point. I'll never get there myself. And that's what we're trying to do, is establish a community around the things that we celebrate.
It's funny you should say that. Now, this is inside the Ring of Renegades, but one of my college friends posted in earlier in the week that they were at this tournament that I was at this weekend, and that my wife was at as well.
A girls lacrosse tournament.
Girls lacrosse
that
tournament.
You officiate at.
Yeah, I need to always define that. I keep forgetting.
Yes.
And as it turns out, my wife ended up officiating her daughter's game.
Okay.
And the only way we knew that is because she shared information celebrating, they're coming up and playing. They're from Atlanta. So they were up here playing in a tournament, and they were celebrating.
In Maryland, so that's a pretty big trip.
Correct. And so it just so happened that we figured out that my wife was on their game. And that only happened because they were celebrating their weekend being in Maryland. And, so I think it's those connections that allows us to make that we wouldn't, as you said, wouldn't otherwise think about. And, it's one thing to look back and be like, hey, and it's funny that her daughter happened to be struggling with a blister. And so my wife made sure to check and make sure she was okay when she was struggling on the field. And my friend thought that was really sweet.
Oh,
so it's just one of those things that you walk away feeling like, wow, that was really cool. That if she had never shared the celebration of their weekend, we would have never known that we had this common ground. And I think that's part of the value. Like you said, we learn so much more about others and see where we have more in common than maybe we feel like or don't feel like we do.
I think it also ties to our topic for the week, Tom. Watch this segue. We're talking about stumbling blocks and things that cause us to stumble as we're developing our business or our team or our organization, whatever that looks like. And I think one of the things that you have to believe to be successful. And we're going to talk about that today. But believing that you're going to achieve it is manifested a lot in celebrating the successes along the way. You know, I'm working on a project. You and I have talked about it a lot. I'm working on a project. It's got a whole bunch of opportunities. I believe in it completely, and celebrating little successes. Like I told you just now, we have a big proposal to put together. That's a huge success. To get to that point
Certainly
is a great step. And if I think 6 months ago, I would have been like, oh, we haven't hit my goal yet. Now it's, what are the incremental steps? So I think getting into that practice in our daily life can lead us to, wow, I overcame this stumbling block. I got my first customer. Now I got my first customer who actually is paying what I want them to pay. Now I've got my first customer who told a friend about my business.
sure.
My team had a meeting without me, and they're rocking and rolling. I couldn't be at that meeting, and now we're achieving things that I didn't think were possible 6 months ago. Those successes are what drive, in my mind, what I believe. You know, so this is all tied together more closely than I think we might imagine when we're just talking about, well, they're talking about stumbling blocks and they're throwing the summer celebration thing at us. And I think it's all really tightly
part
woven.
of a bigger puzzle. And I think the challenge is that we so often look at the big puzzle and don't take the time to break it down into all the little pieces. You know, again, when you put a puzzle together, the goal is just to get it together.
Yep.
It's not really to study, you know, how does this piece, I mean, you have to figure it out. But I think the ultimate goal is like, let me just get it done. Not, it's interesting how they cut this so that this fits here and that fits there. And it does all matter, that without one of those little pieces, the puzzle isn't complete. And I think that's the challenge for us in our work, business, or endeavor is, you know, where are the missing pieces? And how can I better understand what they are so that we can make it whole? And believing that, all right, I've got all these little pieces. How do they go together to put together what I want to achieve? And I think it's so hard. You know, if you're starting a 1,000-piece puzzle, you look at it and you're like, there is no way this is ever going to, how am I ever going to be able to figure this out? Like how can I figure out like the first two that go together? Some of the hardest pieces to start with, you know, and so everybody goes to the kind of quote unquote easy ones. Let's go to the corners. Let's at least find the 4 corners and get started. And I think that's part of it. So many people look at their dream and struggle with it. You know, how many times have people come to us and said, we say, well, what is it that you really want to achieve? And they throw something out that they really don't believe they can get to. And I think one of the great things about what we try to do is to say, great, now let's figure out how to get there. You know,
right.
not be like overwhelmed with, yeah, you'll never be able to achieve that, or that's not possible. Or it's more like, okay, we can believe in your goal and your dream when maybe you can't quite get there. And I think that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks is people not being able to see down the road and actually believe that they can achieve what it is they've been dreaming about. When in reality, it's there. Sometimes they just need help having someone say, yes, you can. You can get there. And this is how we're going to help you do that.
I think it's easy to say that I believe. It's harder to actually believe. Like over the weekend, I didn't tell you this, but over the weekend, I had a discussion with someone pretty close to me about something I'm doing. And this person has been pretty critical. And, you know, I've had track record that this person can bring up. And I heard myself describing a situation in a different way. Like, it wasn't conjecture anymore. It was, no, I believe this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm going. And it was pretty much like it or lump it.
Yeah.
In a much more powerful way that I think if we commit to something fully, then we'll figure it out. And you're talking to a guy who I think historically I would commit for a couple years to anything and then be like, yeah, it's getting hard. This is no fun. I'm not there yet. And as I talk to people who are there, they tell me that it isn't the there that excites them. It's all the stumbling blocks they overcame along the way. And they just get more comfortable with, I'm going to figure this out.
Sure.
One way or another. And I think that's where the belief is. The belief isn't that I'm going to be a multimillionaire. The belief is I'm going to figure out the next problem that's going to hit me and the one after that. And that next problem might be the internet's out at my house and I have a big meeting at 9:00. The next big problem might be my bank account's overdrawn by $200. It can be all those things. It could be I've got to go pick up the kids and I'm supposed to work on a proposal. It's all those things. And I think what we tend to get wrapped up in is those big things.
Sure.
Well, I look at my bank account. I'm not a millionaire yet. Well, worry about today's problem today and tomorrow's problem tomorrow. And I think when you break the problems down, it's easier to believe because I find more and more that the problems I overcome and the problems I help people overcome, it's often the same things coming back again and again. And it's like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Where do you come up with these ideas? I'm like, because that's what everyone else has figured out. Not
right.
that you should or could, but we really are often in the same loop.
Well, because you take the time to focus on it. I'll go back to the puzzle analogy. If you have 1,000 or 10,000 piece puzzle and
do they make them with 10,000 pieces? Good
I don't
heavens.
know. Maybe not. Maybe 5,000.
Okay. My mother just started a 1,000 piece puzzle and I was at her place and she had just started it. I'm like, how long will this take you? She's like, well, this one's going to be hard, probably 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, why would anyone do that?
Yeah,
But it gives her joy and she likes seeing the completed project and she believes she can do it.
Correct. And I think if you didn't, kind of like with your business, if you only come back to it occasionally over those 2 weeks, you're not going to be able to find the solution. If you are committed to it and you sit down and say, here's this piece. I'm going to figure out what is the next piece that goes together. And once I do, great, then I'm a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And I think once you get some pieces going, you get some confidence. Once you overcome some stumbling blocks with your business work or your team, you get more confidence. And then you're like, oh yeah, now I can see how this fits in here. Rather than, okay, in this puzzle, here's the blue sky. There are 30 pieces that are blue sky. Well, how am I going to put that all together? And I think the more success we have doing it, the more success we have and are interested in doing it again. Once you start rolling pieces together in a puzzle, you're like, I'm going to stay here for a while because I'm feeling like I'm making progress. Same thing with our business, our work, is that when we feel like we're having confidence, we want to stick to, all right, let me take on the next thing. And then let me take on the next thing until we get to a point where like, I need a break. I need to step away from a little bit so that I can come back with the renewed interest and energy to make it work. And I think that, those people who are just a little further along with their business just have more pieces of the puzzle together. And it doesn't mean that it makes it a little bit easier because there are less puzzle pieces left. And still the challenge of I'm putting together this big thing. And once it's complete, but if I only look at the big picture, it's going to be very hard for me to ever figure out how to put all those pieces together.
So our summer celebration really is a celebration of each time we put a piece of the puzzle together in our life.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So Tom, what's your one thing today? When we talk about stumbling blocks and believing that you'll figure it out.
Yeah. And we didn't talk a ton about this, but I think the biggest challenge is if you struggle to truly believe that you can accomplish what it is you want to accomplish, find somebody who will. Find somebody who will say, look, if that's what you want to do, I want to help you do that. And I think those people are out there. It's just a matter of we have to, one, be willing to ask for the help. And two, we have to then be willing to try to put the first two pieces together to see how do we continue to take these steps to get there? Because I think the belief is in seeing the progress. And until we see the progress, to have someone else who is there telling us we can do it can make all the difference.
Also helping us with the puzzle pieces that we're sure don't fit in the puzzle at all, or that are misplaced, right? I mean, I think that's, you do that with me a lot where it's like, hey, have you thought about this thing? What does this look like? You're asking me about a expense this morning. What's that look like? It's like, I hadn't really looked at that closely until you brought the issue up. It's like, oh, that's the number. And I think we get so wrapped up in the puzzle and those 5 pieces in our hands, they're right there, that we don't see the full picture. And I think someone else coming in and going, hey, that piece in your hand, I think it actually fits over there. No, I tried. No, oh, look, it does if you turn it 90 degrees. I love the image of the puzzle.
Yeah, I think it's a very appropriate way to look at how we approach our work and our business, our teams, is that there are a lot of moving pieces. There are a lot of pieces, and they all will fit together. We just have to figure out which are the right ones and when is the time to be able to put those together. So what's your one thing today, Bob?
I think my one thing is that we have to believe in, not in the big goal, but that we're going to figure out what we need to figure out today and what we need to figure out tomorrow. And I think for me, focusing more on what do I need to do to achieve my results today, and not worrying about the big picture, not worrying about that long, this far away, or we don't have this much money coming in, but just doing what I can today. I think if I can do that at the end of the day, I will believe more, because it's like, wow, I achieved all these things today. What can I achieve tomorrow? And most of the people I've talked to who find success say it's not really about getting to the end. It's about the journey. Mm-hmm. It's about the things I discovered. And, if you're going across the country in your car, if you just power through and don't stop anywhere, you miss all kinds of things that everyone else is like, oh, did you stop here? No, we just drove straight through. Really? You didn't stop anywhere? No, you didn't even look at the Golden Gate Bridge or Golden Gate Arches, right? No, not Golden Gate. Golden Gate Bridge. And then I was thinking of the arches in St. Louis.
There's one. There's just one arch.
One, you're right. You didn't.
There are golden arches all along your trip at McDonald's.
Bravo. That was very nice.
All right, friends, probably that's a good spot for us to start to wrap up. So thank you for being with us today. Please feel free to share your one thing if you have it in the comments, because we know that not only will it add to the conversation, it might be super beneficial for someone else. It might be that puzzle piece that they can't see that's buried under other ones that will help them figure out how to take their next step on their own unique pathway to success. Or you can go inside the Ring of Renegades and share it there. That's our Facebook group, where you can become part of a growing community that's helping one another figure out their next steps. It's easy to do if you're not yet a member. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then you can ask to join. It is a private group, and we will ask you, why are you a renegade? That's the big question. And then you can become a part of that group, trying to help one another figure out those next steps, figure out the next puzzle piece to go together in their own unique pathway. So if that's helpful, we will look forward to seeing you inside there, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. If you are struggling with believing, if you're really finding it a hard time saying, yeah, this is what I really want to do, but I'm not 100% positive I can do it, then our Finding Your Renegade pathway in 90 days is something that I think could be really beneficial. It could help you figure out how to take those next steps on your own unique pathway to success. So, and that is a part of our Renegade Success Network this summer. It's one of the pieces. And so here's some further information about our Renegade Success Network. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a great day. Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway